was very stable, and we were on the growth path. Merit was clear, and Africa was confidently defining its role. Then the turbulence started. We lost our founding CEO and some senior staff after the decade of building. Commitment to AFRINIC appeared to have waned. Conflicts emerged. Merit became questioned. Mutual respect was lost. Was almost like children shouting at each other, fathers. Lots of shouting with no listeners, degrading eventually to source address routing, depending on who spoke. You got different reaction. Sadly, factions appeared. There were indeed some instances of supremacy contests. Governance challenges also emerged, and we literally had some disorder. Use of resources outside of the registration service agreement and AFRINIC policies were noticed. For past nearly 3 years, the organization is running without a CEO and a functional board, unable to strictly follow bylaws and play its role in global space as board had lost quorum. Operations and services to members, however, continued very well. Staff on its own, board on its own, members were left alone, and community totally absent. Community activity are frozen. No policy meeting, no capacity building, no updates, etc. The only lifeline we had is AFNOG, who shares the same community with AFRINIC and AF-STAR, so we soldiered on. Things are pending in court meanwhile, but not really on substantive cases, in my opinion, around the violations of the RSA. The important question is, what have we been doing since? Question to members, to board, to staff, to community at large, including regulators, governments, and users. Everyone is quiet, as if don't care or have been scared off by frivolous litigations. One wonders, isn't community above members, who are above board, who are above staff, or has everyone just become king? Have we accepted a situation as status quo, left the future to nature or chance, or just doesn't matter to us? Have we forgotten that on our own, we can reset the organization as we want it, just as we created it? Have we forgotten that the normal resources belong to community and separate from AFRINIC org, an administrative entity? What about your risk management? As member, have you considered on your infrastructure the impact of disruption of the WHOIS database, the routing registry, the RPKI repository, reverse DNS? Are we aware that on September 5th, NTIA issued reports that recommends actions the federal government and all internet networks should take to advance routing security, and what risks will that be to AFRINIC? As end users, have you considered the consequences on the quality of service of your internet? As regulators and governments, have you considered the impact of accessibility of normal resources on national infrastructure? What if internet disappeared as a result of these risks? As community members, don't you miss policy meetings, AFRINIC capacity building activities, internet governance initiatives? Do you imagine a digital Africa without AFRINIC? In conclusion, it's not over. The community which built AFRINIC is capable of fixing AFRINIC. The members are equally capable of fixing AFRINIC Limited. It is now or never. Silence is not an option. Inaction is unacceptable. Hiding will not fix the problems. Blame game won't do it either. Let me be clear. If AFRINIC becomes unoperational, the entire global IRR system will be directly affected. So if we play hands off at our own peril. We will not have one internet. Blaming solely Africa, Mauritius, or a founder such as me or any other person for that matter will be laughable. For those who are bent on frustrating AFRINIC, please beware that there are consequences. And soon enough, the global internet will forcefully come after you. Be wise, comply to AFRINIC agreements, and withdraw the legal DDoS. We know where you are and cannot hide, as we have collaborators wherever you are, with whom we are building the Silk Road to shared prosperity on the internet. The future will judge us all. We stand to be cursed by our children for not acting. Let us stop the petty division and games and do something right before we lose it all. That is what I look forward to come out of this meeting. I thank you very much for your attention. With that, I would like to introduce our able moderator for the next section, and that is Dr. Viv Padayachi, and the session is to appreciate the status of AFRINIC, and Viv will assemble his panel. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I call Benjamin to join me. I know that Dr. Bope is also available online. I don't know whether we can get a confirmation that he's available. Can we get a confirmation if Dr. Bope is with us? Okay, he's not. All right, so we'll start first with the AFRINIC update from the chair.
Okay, thank you, Viv, and also I'd like to say thank you everybody for being here. Could they start projecting the slide, please? So to take a cue from Lucky, my name is Benjamin Isen. I'm Ghanaian, and I'm currently an AFRINIC board member and also the chair of the AFRINIC board. So I don't normally like making presentations because I always like being at the background, but today I found myself at the forefront. But I'm going to talk about what the AFRINIC updates. But more importantly, I'm going to try and give some historical context to how we arrived to this position, and I think what is the best way for the community to move and resolve these issues. So next slide, please. Great. So, as you know, AFRINIC is the fifth IRR, which serves the Africa and Indian Ocean region. And we serve all the 53 countries in the continent with a staff of about 44 from this. And the staff, and I'll go into details about it, but we have hard working staff that have been able to keep the operations of the organization going forward, and then and keep AFRINIC functioning as an IRR. Next slide, please. So the current status is that we don't have a core board, and then there were initially no CEO, obviously as stated, but what led to this current situation where about 52 court cases in which 27 have been resolved, and then another 25 is ongoing. Now, out of that 25 that are ongoing, there's one case which, when it resolves, will currently put the threat on all the other 25, so that Africa can get to the normal status. Now, what I need to bring here is, how did we get to this current status of an inquiry board, and then how, and yes, and that happened right here in Mauritius in 2022, when the board wanted to hold elections for the normal rotation of the directors. And then at that point in time, one member took the board to court that he felt that the number of seats being offered at that particular time was not what should be done. But our bylaws were specifically and explicitly clear on that. There's a specific sequence in which board members are elected. Yet a member, and I can talk about this now because that case has actually been withdrawn from the court. So then there's no, I've checked the legal team about that. So as a result of the court injunction from AFRINIC to conduct its own free and fair elections at the time, per the regulations in our bylaws and per the statutes of our bylaws, that process was stalled, and that left a vacuum on three directors of a total of being 9, but then 8 were being elected. So that left the vacuum of 5 directors. Then unfortunately, another director received an injunction on him, which made him unable to act as a director. I can't go into the specifics of the case, but just to state the fact that there was a director who then had a injunction placed on him. So therefore, although we're 5, that will be Dr. Abdallah Omari. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So that made us have the quorum of directors of 4, and our bylaws require to be a minimum of 5 before you can have a quorum. So as a result of those specific cases, the lack of elections, and the fact that there was a director who was had injunction placed him, we didn't have the sufficient numbers to form a quorum. And this evolved to the point where now, ironically, it's actually a year today. Yes,
Time flies.
Time flies. It's actually a year today that there was another court case that had to do with the appointment of the official receiver. Again, because of it being subject, I can't go into the merits of the case. But what I can state is that it was that particular case was very unfair to AFRINIC, because a day before the case, there was a yes. So there was a court order preventing AFRINIC's own lawyers from intervening in the case. And so somebody goes to court. Your own lawyers are not allowed to represent AFRINIC. Then at the same time, they then pass a ruling to then to appoint the official receiver. And of course, based on the advice we received from external legal advisors, they said that was deemed to be, our belief was that ruling was wrong. So then obviously we had to come and appeal that position, that ruling, and then have the case heard at the appropriate time. That case was held on 15th and 17th of May. Okay. And then we are now pending the ruling. So basically, and then all the remaining 25 cases are dependent in some way intertwined on the outcome of this final ruling. Yes. So that is where I mean, that's how this whole situation emerged. It wasn't because of anything that the board did, or anything. It was because somebody had brought these legal cases against AFRINIC, and obviously you have to use the resources to defend yourself and let the courts come out with who's right and who's wrong. Because we have to respect the courts, we have to respect the decisions, we don't have control over the time, we don't have control over the, whatever is going to come. We can only play by the rules and allow the courts to take its natural way of doing things. And then any attempt, to try and have a clever solution around what is legally possible only brings further, issues to the organization. So it's very important that we know that we continue to abide that. Now, of course, that has brought several challenges to the organization in the sense that, yes, not having a core board, we don't have a budget, but then at the same time, operations are running normally because we have the ability to take certain decisions on critical matters. So when we decide that when something has been brought to our attention that this has to be done, other than that, this will happen to the organization, we take action and we take full responsibility for that decision so that the operations of the company can go on. Remember, we have over 2,000 plus members. None of their services has been impacted in any way. Since we had a lack of quorum, there has been a growth in membership. There's been a growth in the assets of the company. There's been a growth in even old members coming for additional resources. So, and then I'll let my colleague James come and give the technical presentation about us to see how AFRINIC has survived, even in the space of a non-corporate board, because there are certain things that can be done the governance issues should in no way affect the operational issues, and it's very clear that we maintain that. So whatever the board or the remaining 4 directors need to do to ensure that AFRINIC continues to function and play its role as the 5th IRR of the continent, we are ready to do. And several of the, apart from Professor Dr. Omari, and me, myself, and another director have several cases against us. Some in Ghana, some in Mauritius, and some in our home countries. But yet, we see that we are serving a greater good, and we see that we are trying our best to make sure that the continent doesn't suffer in any way whatsoever. So I tell the staff all the time that anytime there's an issue which requires our intervention, we deal with it as a baby. So sorry, I'm spending a little time on this slide because that is the facts of the matter.
Yes, Ben, if you allow me.
Sure.
Because I know we'll have the technical update later on, but these court cases are actually quite complex, and I know for sure, speaking to a lot of the community members, that people get lost. You mentioned like there are 52 court cases,
yes,
and 27 have been resolved, 25 are ongoing. Maybe if I can just summarize it into 2 categories. If I'm making a mistake, then you can correct me. I think of all those court cases, we can divide them into 2 categories. One category is a matter of essentially contract law, like which were the initial cases where cloud innovation is bound by AFRINIC through a contract, which is a resource service agreement. And at some point, the board decided that cloud had breached its contract and took a decision to suspend the services. And cloud felt that they didn't agree. So like in any sort of commercial arrangement, if somebody feels that he's been treated unfairly, he can always go to court. And that is basically the initial cases that were brought. And there are some other cases in those 52 cases that you mentioned, which are similar contract law matters. The other category is the governance issue, which is the issue of the Corporate Board.
Yes.
Right? And that really, I think if we have to put a finger on what is the main point of AFRINIC today, I think it's the issue of the governance issue.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Well, okay, so let me put it this way. Yes, you're absolutely right. I mean, most of the cases are, in fact, most of the cases have to do with the contract law. And, you know, organizations have all sorts of disputes with all sorts of their members. Banks have also disputes with their members. That is nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
And we respect their right to take issues that they think that they are being not properly treated to court. And also within our rights to also defend ourselves in court. And that is the normal way in which normal business is done, because any two people can come into an agreement and then they can have a disagreement as to how the interpretation of the law is.
Yes.
So that is to me personally, that's not new, because it happens all over the world.
Yes.
Yes. Now, when you go into the fact where it's affecting the governance issue, it's affecting the governance issue in the sense that yes, we don't have a core board, but at the same time, it's not affecting the core operations of the organization. Things are still moving as they should be.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I know that apart from yes, and then there are issues where we cannot conduct our meetings because we don't have a quorum to call for a meeting to do it. That's why AFRINIC is not being taking an active role in this one. Yet, but at the same time, it's because of where we are. It's not by our fault doing. It is something which we need to respect the court process.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot be seen to do anything but respect the court process, and that's what we are doing, because the court process must take its due course. And so, although yes, it affects the governance issue of the board, which is making sure that there's an overall CEO. Any attempt to try and circumvent that, yes, will create problems.
So let's set aside the contract law matters.
Yes.
Focus on the governance issue.
Yes.
So I think most of us would agree that the court's ruling of and the appointment of an official receiver with a mandate to organize elections and set up a new board is a good thing. So why would the board challenge that?
Yeah, well, honestly, I don't even see how you call it a good thing, because you see, because this is the case where we are.
But if we have board elections, Ben, isn't that a good thing?
No, okay, let's play back what actually happened. So the court there are several factors that led to us removing the official receiver. I mean, we're going to appeal for the receiver. One of them was the fact that you are appointed to come to the board. So you're appointed as an official receiver on the 12th of September 2023. On the 13th of September, you walk into the office with a known, that's Paul Warner, who has a court case against AFRINIC to wind AFRINIC down.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that to us read a very serious red flag for us. And these are facts. These are facts that, yes, this it questioned the independent nature of the receiver, because he walks into an office, the AFRINIC office, with somebody who has a court case to wind AFRINIC down. Now, are you saying that he went to spend thousands of dollars to put up a court case to wind AFRINIC down, and now it's coming in to look after the best interest of AFRINIC? I mean, he might be that altruistic, but I'll prefer to play on the side of caution. I'm not trying to say what the things are, but to me, we were advised by the Senate, because no, the ruling was to appoint a receiver was flawed in law. That is what the advice we gave us, and therefore we were advised to then take that appropriate action to have it reviewed. And rightly or wrong, we might be right, we might be wrong, but it's up to the court to determine. I can't say that it was a good decision because I was advised something else. I can't say it's a bad decision. I would say we've taken the issue to court. Let the judge come up with a rule and say, this position you took was right, and then we all abide with it. So that's why I'm saying that we need to respect the court processes.
But if we go by that kind of reasoning, Ben, and I mean, I might be wrong, but I'm just kind of like thinking from as a layman, wouldn't it be better, because it's clear that the official receiver was not independent, as you mentioned, and therefore, since the official receiver is tainted, he's clearly demonstrated that he's not independent. Wouldn't it be better to ask the court, not to challenge the court's ruling, but to ask the court, like on the basis of the fact that the official receiver has demonstrated that he's not independent in this case, to maintain the court's ruling of appointing an OR, but to appoint someone who is independent, that would be acceptable to AFRINIC?
Yes. First of all, I have two distinct comments on that one. First of all, as directors, we have a fiduciary duty to comply with the bylaws, and we have a fiduciary duty to ensure that the elections are free and fair. Right. So that to me, that is the strongest, most independent person, somebody who can be actually taken to court for not conducting a free and fair election. So
if you have an independent official receiver, wouldn't that guarantee a free and fair election?
what I'm trying to say is that I have to respect what the bylaw says. The bylaws cannot say directors conduct elections, and I will say, I will say go and get an official receiver. That would be going contrary to what I've taken the lead of fiduciary duty to protect. My duty is to make sure that whatever the bylaw says on the conduct, and we've been doing elections for the past 20 years with our bylaws. So my understanding, my objective is to simply do what the bylaw says. I mean, I'm not trying to be creative. I'm not trying to invent new rules. I'm not trying to do things. And the bylaw simply said, you appoint directors. The directors conduct elections per the state law process spelled out explicitly. Now, if you have even a problem with the way the bylaws are conducted, there are avenues to amend the bylaws. So,
but then who will appoint the directors?
First of all, the Companies Act allows directors to appoint directors. And once we reach the quorum, then we go to see the issue is not about the elections. The issue is about having a quorum to conduct elections. Elections must be done undisputed. I don't have any quorums with it. And we were in the process of doing exactly that when we were stopped by another party.
By Cloud?
By Cloud, no, by Christian Webb, I believe. Yes, I believe it was Christian Webb, but I might be wrong. So please forgive me if I'm wrong. So, but yes.
But Crystal Webb and Cloud are...
Well, you and I are friends, but I wouldn't want to. Yeah. You understand that? Yes. So we were in the process of conducting free and fair elections when we were stopped. Now, what you're suggesting or alluding to is that although we're in the process of conducting free and fair elections, we are stopped. Now let's let another independent person conduct free and fair elections. I mean,
no, but you see, I mean, for me, what I see the danger is that those court cases and challenges going on forever, and at the same time, keeping AFRINIC in this kind of quagmire.
Yes, but it's,
if we want like a speedy recovery or a way out of this situation.
And honestly, even I don't want to go into the details of that because it was a right, but actually we did try some form of mediation. We did try some kind of negotiating to have another independent group of people, not one person, but rather an independent group of people, even though it was not what we thought was right. I mean, what we wanted to actually our preferred option. We did give some allowance to say, okay, let's try another way where the directors continue to be directors, and then we have a group of people looking at the election bit. But that also was rejected by the other side. So it's not because of lack of trying to find a mediation or middle ground. It's because of the fact that, I mean, we have tried what we have to do. And now it's simply, the simple thing is that let's simply let the court decide on what we should do. Because it should be a fair process undoubtedly. It should, as much as possible, be according to our own bylaws, as much as possible. And any deviation of that weakens the organization. I mean, any deviation from what you say, when you say you're going to do A, B, C, and you deviate from it, it weakens the organization because it weakens your credibility. So what I'm trying to say is that, look, I mean, and the current status of AFRINIC is not because we want it this way. It's because of a court process that has brought us this way. So let's the court process continue. That's what I'm saying.
But you don't know how long it will take.
Yes, but then in the interim, the directors are there to ensure that the operations of AFRINIC never suffers in any way. And there's not a single member of AFRINIC that can say that because of the incorrect board, because of a lack of a CEO, our service have been affected in any way, to the best of my knowledge. And I'm sure it would have been brought to my attention if such an incident has happened. So nothing has brought to my attention, and nothing aware. I mean, we're in Kigali and then that question was posed to me. I said, yes, okay, show me the emails. Show me we have James will come to report the incidents management of all of the incidents. Show me something, give me evidence. And there's no evidence whatsoever. The only evidence is, yes, we don't have a correct board. Agreed. We don't have a CEO. Agreed. But the key operations of the IRR has not been affected in any way.
Ben, so let's continue with the technical update, and then I think we'll take questions from
That's
the audience.
So James, can you come and continue with the technical update, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. All right, so I'll be here to take you through the updates on our operations throughout the year. As you have heard from the director, Mr. Benjamin Eshan, he's mentioned that the operations have continued throughout despite the ongoing legal matters. So just to introduce myself, my name is James Chirwa. I'm head of member services at AFRINIC. So we've continued to operate. We've had the lights on, so nothing has gone down. We've continued to provide services, and we've focused, my talk today is focused on three main pillars of how we've delivered service and brought value to our community and members in particular. We've delivered this value and service through services to the members. I'll speak more on what services, and most of you knows the services that we do. We've also focused on strengthening how these services are brought to you as members and the community. We've also focused on building the internet community. So I'll talk more on each pillar. All right, so yes, so I'll first and foremost talk about the core service that we deliver. Most of you, as you are aware, our core business revolves around management of IP number resources. This is done through enrolling of new members or enrollment of members, and then they receive these IP addresses. So in this year alone, we've so far enrolled at least 102 new resource members on our member base, bringing a total to 2,317 at least. So as of today, we are serving 2,300 plus resource members. So you can see that our service portfolio has continued to grow. I mean, our member portfolio has continued to grow despite the challenges that we're having in terms of governance side. Operations have continued to go on. On the resources part, we've been able to issue out at least 154,000 IPv4 addresses in this year. We've also given out 90 prefixes in IPv6. The IPv6 part may be looking like it's a smaller number, but I'll speak more on how we've changed our focus in the past few years due to policies that have come in, and also seeing how adoption has been for the past number of years. We've changed our approach to focus on, instead of giving out to members, we focused more on having members deploy IPv6. So I'll talk more on that part as we go ahead. We've also issued out at least 106 autonomous system numbers this year alone. Through this, we've been able to provide support to our members by handling at least 17,000 support tickets. These tickets have been handled at least with a service level commitment of 88, almost 89%, so to say. We provide, our service level commitment is 48 hours, so at least 89% of those tickets have been handled within that particular expected time frame. So I also talk about now other services in addition to the registry service, the core service itself. One of the services we have is the resource public key infrastructure, which is very crucial, and actually the criticality of it is growing every day by the numbers as we speak, because it is the key element in protecting your traffic in terms of routing once you go global. When you go on the global routing, you want to prevent prefix hijacks. You want to prevent prefix leaks unnecessarily. This is the mechanism. So far we have 4,087 members at least who have adopted the service. We are pushing the drive, but also there's good traction so far because the service itself, the criticality doesn't need emphasis. And we are doing a lot also in terms of our capacity building to make sure that members understand the service and they are able to comfortably adopt. Another service is also now on the same, on the adoption of the RPKI service itself, at least those who are the 487, they've been able to enroll at least 7,000, almost 7,500, what we call resource origin authorization. These are just the elements that attest to the originality of a route in the global routing. So this is how the growth is taking shape. On the other side, another mechanism that also helps implement the same security of internet routing is the Internet Routing Registry, which also has a good adoption so far, as we are at 75.5% at least. So this is some of the adoption that we are at as we speak. On the IP number resources, I would like to talk also on the IPv4 part, on what we have in our pool. Most of you may be aware that IPv4 is depleting. What do I mean by that? IPv4 pool globally is very limited. We're talking about 4 billion IP addresses, around that number. The internet has grown very fast over the past few years, and as we can see, 4 billion is simply not enough. So we are running out of IPv4. That's why we are putting a lot of effort also in adoption of IPv6. Now, in our IPv4 pool, we only have about 1 million IP addresses. So 0.06% of a /8 is 1 million. It's just about that. The actual number is actually 1,046,000 that we have in our current pool. Globally, it's only AFRINIC and AFRINIC who still have some IPv4 in their pool. Other 3 RIRs are completely at 0 as we speak. So that's how the pressure is on IPv4 at the moment. So in our pool, we only have about 1 million, but we're also moving towards complete depletion, which means IPv6 adoption is becoming critical. We may also seem like, why do we still have IPv4 when other regions have exhausted the IPv4? Well, as you can see, we do have policies that have actually facilitated kind of a slower consumption of the remaining so that we allow new players or upcoming players, startups, to be able to find a minimal amount that they can start with while they adopt IPv6. So as you can see here, our current policy says we can only give at once a maximum of /24. That's simply 1,024 IP addresses. But the good thing is when you manage to use that amount to a certain threshold, you are able to come back and ask for more. On the other part, the minimum we can give is a /24. That goes down to more of a technical matter in terms of routing, but yes. So that's how our current pool is in terms of IPv4. So now, having talked about the registry service, I'll try to now talk about capacity building. How are we getting members adopt some of our services and technologies? So over time, we've done a lot of capacity building through trainings. They used to be physical, but also with changes in time and other things happening across the way, COVID, etc., our model has also changed, and we're doing a lot of online courses. So we do have an e-platform. If you do learn.afrinic.net, you'll find a lot of content of the services that we have that can also guide you easily adopt those particular services. So these online services, we do have them in multiple languages as well. We do have 8 courses in English, 7 courses in French. Over time, we've had over 5,000 course participants from at least 84 countries. So you can see that participants aren't only coming from our region. We are having participants from across the world. This year, we've had over 1,600 new learners on our platform. And also, our service has attained 43.7 NPS. So you can gauge the quality from that kind of NPS, what we are able to deliver. So we do not only stop at delivering the trainings, we also have certification for IPv6. So if you have your network engineers, they want to attest that they know they have the capabilities, they have the capacity to deploy or to implement IPv6 on your networks. They can come. So far, we've had 276 test takers from 41 countries, and this is also open globally. Our certification course has received a over 70% NPS score. In addition to this capacity building part, we do not stop there. We also move ahead and handhold those who need to deploy certain services. How does that happen? We do it in different ways. We can set up calls, Zoom calls, where we discuss, we understand your network, we understand your infrastructure, and we work together to come up with the best approach to implement technologies like IPv6, RPKI, IRR. So we don't just let you take the training and go under on your own. If you feel like you still need hand-holding, you still need help, we have a team that is available to support on that. So over the period, at least 211 members have come to our deployment help desk. We call it a deployment help desk. These have been from 39 countries, so it appears that we still have a gap. Out of our 55 economies, we only have had calls from 39, so we still have a gap, and I encourage those who haven't reached out to us, feel free to reach out to us. Just send us an email at DO if you want to do IPv6. rpki.do@afrinic.net. It will be able to assist you. We've done also 535 deployment KPI. We've attained 535 deployment KPIs and also an 86 NPS score. Now, I'll move on now from the technical capacity building into now the policy development area. Now, as you know, AFRINIC, most of our operations, specifically with the registry side, are driven by policies. So there is a well-curated policy development process that is in place. And I'll just provide an update on what we have so far ongoing in terms of policy development process. So currently, we do have still 3 policies that are still pending board ratification. So they reached consensus back just before the board quorum was lost. So until now, we still await the correct board to ratify those policies so that we can implement them. We are currently working on one, actually I would say 2. One of the policies is the RPKI AS0 policy, which is under implementation. So this simply, as I said, RPKI is becoming critical to global network operations. This will simply put all unallocated resources under that particular RPKI AS0 routing origin authorization. So the next policy that we're also working on, we're simply actually in the final stages, is the IPv6 policy implementation. I've had chats with a few of you who've told me that you've been receiving some emails regarding reminders that you haven't announced your IPv6 and we are ready to help. This is this is part of that policy. So we're in the final phase. What it means is once we've gone live, if you haven't announced your IPv6, if you have not started using your IPv6 after 12 months of the time you've received, that IPv6 will be taken back. So like I said in one of the slides before, that this year we only issued 90 IPv6 prefixes. This is one of the reasons to say members look at that policy condition to say whether they are ready to go live in 12 months or not. So some of them take the choice to say, I'll come back when I'm ready. So this is one of the focus, but also the other focus is we saw that we did have at least 50% of our members with V6, but adoption in terms of implementation was very low. So I think that before we changed things, it was about 20%, but now we have over 30%, at least higher upwards, who have now actually gone live with IPv6. So this is the focus change that we've had. Now on IPv6, in the policy development part itself, we do have at least 1,000 subscribers, but now this number is too low. Why am I saying too low? One of my slides shows that we have 2,300 plus resource members, right? And we expect resource members to be present on RPD because this is the resource policy discussion area. So if you are a member and you're not participating, the outcome of here will impact you. But if you are participating, it means you are aware of what's happening or what's coming, but you're also able to take part in the discussion and divert the discussion in where you feel is the best possible outcome for your organization. So I would encourage a lot of you to join as long as you are members, but I have also to emphasize that it's not only open to members, it's open to everyone with interest. So if you're interested in building policies for the best management of IP number resources, I encourage you to join the forum. We've also done a lot of engagement sessions with our members and the community. Over the year, we've done 16 webinar sessions, since 2023. Within those, we've had an attendance of up to at least 3,500 attendees and a median NPS score of 57. We've also introduced a number of blogs over the period on our website, 12 blog articles, 8 from external authors. So we've taken this approach also to bring in external content, not only blogs are coming in from staff, but so we've actually focused more on having more external content so that at least we have a rich combination of content. So I'll now move on to engagement. All right, so yeah, we've done a number of engagement sessions as well during this period. We've had over 10 government and policy engagement for digital transformation sessions. Over 100 individuals reaching out through AFRINIC internet development programs, with at least 36% being female. So at least we are achieving that balance of also bringing in participation or encouraging women in STEM environment. So 42 new member organizations inducted on AFRINIC service and governance. So we also hold these induction sessions where we introduce members to the ecosystem and how the internet governance forum plays out. So that's another sessions that we've had. Partnership, we also build partnership MOUs for cooperation on internet development projects with a number. So we've done at least 5, and also 1 contribution to the 20-year review of ITU's WIS plus 20. All those have also given us an NPS score of 51. Now I'll come to the last part, which is service strengthening. This is how we've strengthened our infrastructure to support our service delivery. So I'll just, an overview is we focused on scaling and resiliency. So our service, average service availability, we've maintained it at least 99.9%. We've also introduced redundancy on our critical services, multiple data center sites. We've also moved other services to the cloud, including CDNs. We've also modernized most of our data centers, not only increasing the count, but also making sure that we're putting in resilient and scalable infrastructure. We've also made sure that our critical services like WHOIS and RDAP are available in at least 2 IXP, close to 2 IXP points. We've also focused on automation and monitoring of our service, so at least we can deliver updates or deployments quickly, and also to be able to meet the expected service levels of our members. Yeah, we've also focused on database modernization and optimization. That's been another key focus over the period. And also we've had some good feedback on our customer service feedback survey. So that's what I had to bring to you today. Thank you for your attention. I'll hand you back over to Dr. Viv and the chairman, Mr. Ishon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, James. Much appreciated. I've just been informed that the other panelist, Dr. Bope, has joined. Christian Bope is the liaison, Council of Elders liaison to AFRINIC's board. Do we have Christian's acknowledgement? Christian, do you have any update for this meeting?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes. Hi, Christian.
I want to turn off my video, but I'm unable to turn it off, to turn it on, sorry. Don't know.
Yes, I was just asking if there are any updates from you for this meeting.
Yes, I think the update is maybe just to update the audience regarding some of the discussion we have been having. I think that's the main update, if I may.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you all. I'm really sorry to be a bit late. I was a bit in another meeting. Sorry for that. First of all, I would like to thank you all for making time to attend this meeting. And we all know it's a bit a challenging time, but we hope that after this meeting, there will be some key resolution which will help AFRINIC to move forward as we always does. In updates, I think much has been said, but I will more focusing on like just to give you a brief update. We, as a COE, as the COE is based on our mandate as per the bylaw, we have been discussing closely with the board and also with the management just to try to assist them on giving some advice. Our discussion was mainly on two key aspects. The first aspect was on all the legal matter which AFRINIC is facing. I think we have been giving a constant update from the board and the management. And then at the same time also we have provided some advice on the matter. On the second point also, in which we discussed a lot, it was mainly on the business continuity, because as AFRINIC, we are providing services to our members, and also there is some key activities which need to be maintained, to be performed. And at the beginning, there was some kind of not clear, like borderline, like what do we mean by business continuity? I think we discussed intensively with the board and the management just to make sure like we all have the same understanding of the business continuity. I think those was the two key aspects in which I wanted to give an update. I don't know if there is any maybe question or if something Viv can add, or maybe if Professor Ni or other can add on that. I think that was the two key aspects I wanted us to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian. Ben, the chair already gave a legal update earlier at the beginning of this session. I think I'll open the floor now to questions.
Sure, thank you.
And I would ask members if they can state their name and their affiliation, please, before they ask their question. Thank you. You probably, for those who wants to ask question, you have to queue at the mic, I think.
Okay, well, morning. I'm Ben Idris Dama from Burkina Faso. I have a question to Benjamin. I think that this situation take a very long time. Last year, we learned that we get a legal receiver to organize the election. And we were very happy concerning this. But after this, nothing. But now we want to know why you didn't take the new one to organize the election, and instead did you block the procedure?
Yes, Ben.
Okay, now, so, like I said, the decision to appoint a receiver, we were advised that it was legally, what was the correct term? We were advised by our lawyers that that decision that was appointed by the judge was flawed in law. And so we had to appeal the decision. Because that is a very specific active case in court. So I can't go into the merits of as to the arguments we made, because that would be sub to this. But based on the advice which we received from our legal counsel and the discussion we had, that was the best course of action to protect for the best interest of the organization. Because so I don't want to go into the arguments, because that can be very dangerous for me. I don't want another contempt of court cases. I have enough. But it was purely based on the legal advice that we received. And once the case is dispersed, I can give more details on that one.
So that currently now we don't have update for us.
So that's why I said that case was heard on the 15th and 17th of May, just of this year. We are awaiting the ruling on that case. And that ruling will determine whether we were right in saying that the appointment of the receiver was right, or whether it was right after all. And based on that, then we would have to follow the natural course of the law. So that's what I'm saying, that what we require is for the court to continue with the process, because as directors, it's our it's our duty to ensure elections, and that was what we were doing when we were stopped. But then when a decision is taken, which we've been advised that it is legally wrong, flawed in law, we have the obligation to go to court and then protect the interest of AFRINIC. So I would love to give you details. In fact, I wish I could give you details because the arguments were quite strong, but I cannot at this point in time go into the specifics. Just to believe me that it was wrong in law for that to be done, and that was what we stood by. And those are the affidavits that we stood by.
Thank you. We'll have a next question.
Thank you. My name is Sylvester Hachu. I'm from Ghana, and I'm here on the Wakren ticket as part of their delegation. I'm excited that the cases have not grounded the work of AFRINIC, and from the report that was given, things are moving on well. But I'm worried. I haven't read the full judgment, but I read the news reports. The judge mentioned that the decision to appoint the receiver was to protect the assets of AFRINIC, because the current or the half board, the tenure was due to expire on the 18th of September, if my data are correct, last year. Now, you've appealed against that decision. And your first argument was, you don't want to go into the merits of the case, I understand. Your first argument was that you suspected the receiver will be biased. I thought that you rather challenge that and ask for an unbiased receiver. You didn't do that. Now, if your legitimacy is challenged now because your tenure has expired, what will you do? Because you can be injected for holding yourself as a member of the board and a chair of the board.
Yes, so again, the specifics of that particular case is also a matter before the court. And so I can't go into the actual details as to but what I can advise you to do is that you could read the bylaws for yourself and see whether that statement is true. But I cannot, I don't want to go into that argument, because that is also an active matter in court. And so once that is dispensed of in court, we can discuss it. Now, you raised another issue. Can you remind me? Yeah. Yes. So yes, and I'm saying that issue is also an active matter in court, and so right now we are waiting for the outcome of the court cases, because that has been yes. So we're waiting for the outcome of the court cases, but nobody is okay. No, I cannot say.
Yes. Next one.
Yes, Alain Ayina, I have many issues, but I'll try to summarize. I've worked for AFRINIC in various positions, including being acting CEO, and I can tell you how stressful and how challenging it is working in this area environment. And when you are running the area and you don't have a board and you don't have a CEO, I could see, and I think maybe I'll ask this audience to clap for the staff, because keeping this engine running for without CEO if I were the board, okay, I can tell you. And then this takes me to my point that when I hear the chair saying that everything is fine, I beg to disagree. Because as for the first point I just said, I don't think if you run business and you don't have the board, the governance structure, I don't think this is something anyone will enjoy. Okay. What I saw here is that for the update, okay, we know staff have been doing things, but the question is, why is that? Are we so quiet in reporting what we just heard, okay, through James and through the chair? Why are these things not communicated daily, weekly, monthly to the members, to the community? That's one. So then if everything seems to be okay, and we do have a board who is taking care of the organizations, why are we not having a policy meeting? The policy meeting is a community meeting. Why are we not having a PDP meeting? Because I think if we were to say everything is fine with the registries and you are not running a policy meeting, you have a big problem. Because according to ICP2, we're supposed to run at least one policy meeting a year. We are not in compliance. So we cannot say things are okay. Then I will conclude because I don't want to speak for long. For example, I'm surprised that we have a policy ratified, being implemented since 2021. And I hear James saying they are still working on it. So I would like to know what is the problem and why, according to the PDP, if you are trying to implement the policy and you need more time, you are obliged to come to the community, the same RPD list, to ask. So what is going on? So it looked like we seem to have closed the door, the windows, we are working, but we are not complying to some of the critical aspects of what we're supposed to do. So thank you.
Okay, can I?
Thank you, Alan. Yes.
So Alan, to answer your questions, yes, there is no core board, there's no CEO, but there are directors. And directors are what is required by law for a company to exist. So once they are directors, AFRINIC exists. Now, there are certain decisions which, as I said in my earlier submission, that when it comes to critical services that need to be done, we give the go-ahead for the staff to do it so that nothing, gets affected, and we take responsibility for that. So that is to ensure that we keep going what we have to do. Yes, we might not have a PDP, meeting. We might not be having what the regular things we're having, but it's because of where we are. So as the members, what I could say is that, I mean, we need your support, and your support is in the form of making sure that you continue to consume the services in which AFRINIC gives you. You continue asking for resources. You continue to demonstrate that, yes, without all those governance issues, your businesses are fine. Because that is the only way which we prove that we are fine, because we are in to serve you. So then we require you to continue to use those services. The board has the responsibility to ensure that we do what the bylaws says. We have to play by the rules of the bylaws. So, however, what the rule says is what we have to do. The COE, the same thing. The terms are outlined there as plain as black and white as there. So we also need to get to that point where we also comply. The staff also very hardworking, have been maintaining the operations per their job descriptions, per how they have their contractual agreements with AFRINIC to do. And I'm very, very happy, although I don't say it much, and in fact I hardly say it, I'm actually impressed. Sometimes I say, yes, they are doing this under certain conditions, and I'm sure later on I have a surprise for them, but I'll wait for that to tell that. But they are very hardworking. And so but the fundamental thing is that we need to respect the court processes. I know we are running other things, we have to do other things, but any attempt to deviate from the court processes creates chaos. The organization is strengthened only when we respect our own laws, bylaws, and regulations. In the past, honestly, I don't want to pass down, but there are clear attempts in the past where we did not simply follow what we were supposed to do. And that has culminated into the current situation. So yes, it's sad that yes, we cannot hold the PDP, because I would love to hold the PDP. I would love to have all this ended and AFRINIC back to the way we used to know. But there are legal processes in the way which we cannot circumvent. And
Ben, sorry, I just jump in here. I think the problem also is that AFRINIC has gone very quiet.
Yes, okay,
and
yes.
completely disengaged from its community.
Okay.
So I think when we talk about business continuity, I mean, it's reassuring that the technical operations are running, and you said that there has been no problem.
Yeah.
So let's touch wood. But apart from technical operations, there is also community outreach. There is the PDP. These are essential functions
Yes,
of the RIR.
okay, yes. With the exception of the PDP, I know there have been several webinars and other activities to engage the members in several fronts of what they're supposed to do. Maybe what is missing is this update. But even I remember seeing, and that was given at the recent RM meeting on AFRINIC processes, which is online. And but maybe what has been lacking, which I must admit, is that that's regular update of what's going, which will be corrected. I mean, as soon as I'll ask staff to issue out even quarterly updates if need be. But then I do acknowledge that yes, that has been in the past. But then yeah, okay.
Okay. So yes, we have I think 3 people or 4 people online. If you want.
Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah, we take some. So Noah, can you proceed?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can proceed.
Okay, good afternoon, and I'm glad to participate remotely. I have just a couple of questions, but before that, I would like to thank the staff and obviously the directors for keeping this ship moving forward, albeit the challenges, and also the organizers of this important event for putting this event together and allowing the community to continue engaging. I could not participate in person because of family issues, but I'm glad that I'm here remotely. So I'll go straight to my comments. I just have comments, but I want to throw these to everybody. I am Noah Maina. I am the Secretary General of the Tanzania Internet Service Provider Association. It's a member-based organization with more than 40 resource members of AFRINIC here in Tanzania. So that is my affiliation and my name. So I have a couple of questions, and this is in relations to the receivership issue. And I want to throw this to the members, not to directly to the directors or the staff, but to all of us as members of AFRINIC. And these questions are as follows. In terms of the receivership, I've read the act in Mauritius, and there are certain reasons why somebody would want to put a company under receivership. One of them is that the company must be having a creditor, somebody who is demanding that company some money and the company has failed to pay them. Therefore, they go to court to request that the company is put under receivership. The second reason is the company is under liquidation. It's being liquidated. Therefore, there are people who are afraid they might lose their money, and therefore they put the company under receivership. This is the second reason. The third reason is perhaps the company itself is maybe winding out or something like this, or there is a dispute. Now, as we stand at the time of this receivership, AFRINIC did not have a creditor. AFRINIC as a company was not under liquidation. AFRINIC had challenges of governance. In terms of the issue of governance, I want to challenge all resource members in this continent on one single issue. And that issue is that the bylaws of AFRINIC, which we ourselves accepted that we will ratify them and follow them, borrow a leaf in the law of the land in Mauritius, which is the Company Act of Mauritius. You cannot register a company in Mauritius if you will not follow the laws of Mauritius. And one of the requirements is that a company in Mauritius, when it's being incorporated in Mauritius, it must have a director, at least one. At the time of this receivership, AFRINIC had 4 directors. There was a case which was brought, and the case was talking about expiry of the terms of service of those directors. But the Act categorically says a company registered in Mauritius must operate in that land with a director or more. That was true at the time. Therefore, the company did not lack a director. There was nobody who was dead or resigned or left. There were 4 living directors. So there was no argument which somebody could take to court to claim that AFRINIC should be under receivership, yet it had directors. The reason the Act of Mauritius requires a company to be having those directors is so that that company can meet its statutory liabilities. That is the reason the laws of Mauritius have had that enshrined there. Therefore, it is not right, in my opinion, and the opinion of some of the members I've spoken to say that whatever has happened was not right or is right, but the idea is a judge determining or deciding to put a company under receivership while knowing or maybe not knowing that this company does not have a creditor, is not under liquidation. This company actually has living directors as per the Act, I think is questionable. All right. And the last thing I want to put before the members is that while we have our bylaws, let us not forget that AFRINIC as an organization is registered in Mauritius and must follow the laws in Mauritius and cannot operate without directors. So you can have your directors serving 2, 3, 4, 5 years, but the company must have directors, and it did have directors and it still has directors. If it stops having directors, that is when the company gets shut down, but that's not the case. So it is important for us as members to be cognizant of this important fact in line with the laws of Mauritius and the Company Act of Mauritius. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Noah. These were comments. We'll take the next question.
Thank you very much. My name is Engineer Babagana Digima. I'm from the Nigerian Communications Commission. I'm here with my boss, the Executive Commissioner for Technical Services, and some of my colleagues. First of all, I would like to commend you, Mr. Chair, and the rest of the members of the AFRINIC board and technical crew for the work you have continued to be doing to sustain AFRINIC.
Thank you.
And for us in Nigeria, we see the issues surrounding AFRINIC as a matter of national security. And I think it should be also for every other country in Africa. And that is why we are here with this delegation. And we want to extend our support to you and, of course, to the rest of the AFRINIC and the other community. That said, my question actually is for the technical person about the IPv6. He mentioned that you allocate IPv6 and if it has not been utilized for 12 months, you take it back. Isn't that detrimental to our effort to see that we have deployed enough IPv6? Because it means companies and individuals that want to deploy IPv6, like he said, have to be sure that they can utilize it within 12 months. Can't we just extend that period instead of 12 months to like 24 months or more? Because there's a lot of resources in IPv6, and I don't see why we should put that stringent condition to limit those particular set of people from utilizing it. Thank you.
Okay, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. James.
James, do you want to take this question?
Okay, so I'm not sure if what he said was based on the current CPM policy about the V6 utilization, but if that's the case, then probably that's why it is like that. But at the same time, the PDP process is also available for any amendments to the CPM to be made on the allocation of V6 and that space. But I would have preferred if I got the answer from Jay. So maybe if it's available.
Maybe there is a AFRINIC staff in the
Sure.
crowd.
Okay, sure. Yes,
Mukum,
please come and answer the question, please.
Yeah, thanks for the question. First of all, it's a matter of policy. The policy states that once you get an IP address space, you have to start using it within a certain amount of time. Otherwise, you're being non-compliant. And then secondly, we have an entire plethora of services to help any organization actually use the IPv6, training, actual deployment support. So we're just being conformant to the policy. The only way to change that is to put another policy that says, let's not do that. So we have to respect our own policy. So that's what we do.
But the policy is still detrimental because you are trying to encourage people to use the resource, and at the same time, because of the time frame is too small or there's technical challenges. Like one of the ISPs in Nigeria, what he told me about IPv6 deployment is that he already has a network that is serving IPv4. He's running it fine. He doesn't have enough staff with the experience in IPv6. So he doesn't see a reason why he should come and bring another layer of complexity in his network and not having people that can support that service. And then at the same time, he would rather go with his IPv4 until when he sees he has having enough resources. So thank you very much. But on a final note, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
We cannot finish this without saying that, of course, Nigeria Jollof is better than...
I'm sorry, you're wrong. This is where I have to make a public statement that you are wrong.
Yes, Madhvi.
Yes, Madhvi.
Yes, Madhvi from AFRINIC. Just a clarification on the IPv6. There has been a change in the IPv6 policy stating that AFRINIC should reclaim all unannounced prefixes after a 12-month anniversary of issuance. Now, we counted, we have about 600 members that are non-compliant with the policy. They know who they are. There's a campaign going on originating from AFRINIC to get them to be compliant. So the campaign is going on, and yeah, we'll be publishing some updates later on in the year in regard to the success or failure of that campaign. But all AFRINIC is doing is implementing policies, all right? This one, we're trying to be proactive just and not pull the plug, basically. So thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Madhvi. Yes, Helen.
Yes, and then we can take Seun, and then I was in the queue, so I can come back to the queue. So Seun.
All right, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Good to be here remotely. My name is Seun Ojediji, former member of the board of AFRINIC, and I also joined the other people who have spoken to congratulate staff for all their efforts and work that they have been doing so far to keep things running. It's not easy, as Alain has said. But I want to say a couple of things. We've had various sessions in the past on AFRINIC issue, and after the discussion, whether it is remote webinar, whether it is face-to-face meeting, everything goes back to silent, just as Professor Neil said in his initial remark. And I hope this is going to be, this particular one is going to be different. I want to point to the to Benjamin, which is who is chair of the board. I think we need to be very frank and, of course, very intentional. We cannot we cannot continue to deceive ourselves, saying that things are going fine. I mean, thanks to staff, they are doing well. Thanks to staff, they are doing well. I mean, keeping the technical aspect running. But we'll be shooting ourselves in the foot if we continue to make it look like things are fine, because things are not okay. You don't have a CEO, you don't even have a budget. There's no approved budget. So how would you say things are fine? The board, even what you're doing right now as a board, I mean, what you're doing right now, you're not doing it as a board, you're doing it as board members. And so it's very important that we take note of these things and find a quick fix. I'm very disappointed that instead of asking for a change of the receiver, a replacement of the receiver who can be trustworthy, we don't want to accept a receiver at all. So if we don't want to accept a receiver at all, what do we want as the solution? I mean, there has to be an alternative solution you are proposing. We need to get the board correct back. What is the solution? One solution is to have an admin, a receiver, or whoever it is, oversee, standing, and then make sure that the election is conducted, and then we have a correct board, and then the board can get a CEO. But staying on the middle and saying that we don't want a receiver, at the same time we are not proposing the solution to this matter to resolve this governance issue, which actually has to do with the board. It's like we just want to leave AFRINIC to float without anything, without any way forward. So I really like to call on the rest of the members of the board who are still standing, whether standing on one leg or standing on 1.5 leg, whatever it is that they're standing on, to get their hearts together and really come to tell us how do we propose to solve this problem. It is not enough to say, and I hear a lot of things that Benjamin was saying in terms of operational matters. I think that because of the situation we find ourselves, we now see our board members also getting a lot involved into operations. It is not, I don't think our board needs to approve communications, because I heard Benjamin say board is going to talk to staff to do quarterly updates and things like that. I don't think those things should be happening. But again, it's because we don't have a CEO, and we don't have a COO either. And these are some of the things that could have been avoided in the past. But again, this is not the time to blame ourselves. We just need to find a solution and way forward. And please, as a former board member and a member of this community, it is not helping us to be saying what the judge said is wrong or what the judge said is right. We just need a solution of way forward. And I'm happy that some government representatives are here, members are in here. Let us actually determine a way forward on this matter. If it is the receiver, if we can actually initiate a process that requires that maybe somebody or some people within the community can be appointed as an interim, or can be appointed to oversee the election process. Maybe there's a process that allows us to propose that to the judge, or we actually task our legal team to find a working solution, to propose a working solution for us, which we will then take forward as the AFRINIC member and the community to legal, to Mauritius court, because we have to move forward, please. And please don't stop challenging.
I think your point has been made. I will ask Benjamin to make a quick comment, because I'm being told that we are running out of time. There is a last question from Alain. That's all I will take. I'm sorry. Okay. And then we'll have to wind up.
Okay, thank you, Viv. So I'm going to be very clear on this, because like I said, we need to respect the court processes. The governance issue of AFRINIC is a matter before the courts of Mauritius. We operate in the land of Mauritius. we have to respect the laws of Mauritius. It is not about finding a quick fix, because it can give us serious problems in trying to circumvent a matter before the court. That is my danger, and that is my fear. And unfortunately, the direction of people who will be then be, liable for actually, it's my name that will be called in the court, because when you go to the register of companies, it's the 4 directors' names who are there. And so we need to simply respect the court processes. I understand the frustration. I understand the but any attempt to circumvent the court process will only lead to further, damage to the organization. We are, to be honest, I think we are here because we've always been trying to circumvent our court process, our bylaws, and then find a quick fix for a problem. Some solutions cannot be solved with a quick fix. You have to hold the bull by the horn and fix it. Once the court process is over, we can do a bylaw review to see what has brought us to this situation, and then effectively correct it. Now, because I'm not somebody who runs away from the problem. Because if I ran away from the problem, I would have resigned a long time ago. Because the conditions of being a board member. I'm not going to say it in public. So why put up with the stress? But I feel that once we've put ourselves in a position where we are accountable to the community, we are accountable to the laws of Mauritius, we just have to make sure that these things are done. That is why I insisted that anything that will, yes, things I might not be fine in terms of the PDP, in terms of the community meetings, and yes, there is a lacking in the communication, which I agree. It's not a board. It's not up to me to tell the communications people to be more this thing, to do their job. Not that I'm put them on the spot, but it's just that there are certain things which will come down as a result of the current situation. So the solution is fix the problem, but don't find a quick fix.
Thank you, Ben. Alan, last question.
Yes, you've been allocated 7 more minutes. So that means I can go, he can go, and we can take Mohammed online.
I'm asking Susan, do we have 7 minutes? Okay.
Okay, so yes, I just want to not question but comment again from what we saw the conversation between NCC and staff. You are implementing policy, but you don't have a process for people to amend or stop a policy. And I just want to inform this community that these IP we allocate are used by people to run network. And sometimes, there are issues where we need to fix. And we have designed our system that if we run to issue, a community can fast track policy decision, or board can even make a policy. Okay. So, but if we are saying that we are not in the positions, okay, to get either board to act in case of emergency in a policy or community. So I want us to see we are running, we are carrying some risk, like Professor Ney said. And for Benjamin, if we want people to continue using AFRINIC services, we need to show them how we are mitigating risk. What is your business continuity and disaster recovery plan? Show me, show the community, show the members. This is how it is. It's not that we should continue blindly using the services. Well, we know that you are in certain situations with risk.
Yes. Yes. To answer your question again, this is where I'm not sure whether I haven't asked the legal whether, because this is now spearing into, because I see a conflict here between our way of operating with the PDP in a way of, because if of development policies and also complying within the laws of Mauritius to make sure that certain things can be done. So this, I can see this argument even getting towards the international status of AFRINIC, ensuring that we can operate the way we want without necessarily being bound by within the confines of the laws of Mauritius. And that is an argument that that's a discussion that can be had with the government of Mauritius after all this has blown over and we're done. Because we certainly wouldn't want to be put in a situation where this can occur again. So, and I know there's been several attempts in the past to look at that avenue, but at this point in time, we need to just let the natural course of justice take its course, and then at the same time do our very best to mitigate all the risks. In terms of the disaster recovery plans, depending on the level it is, we have the policies to address those. What is very difficult to do is have a disaster recovery plan for the governance structure because it's based on the laws, and any attempt to vary to do that will become. So technically it can be resolved, but I haven't come across.
Maybe we'll need to think about that.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Can we take the next question?
OK. Kemde Frank, Burkina Faso. Ma question sera en français.
Oh. OK.
OK.
I'll
try to.
OK, merci. Sur la question d'AFRINIC, sincèrement, je reste sur ma soif par rapport à l'organisation des élections. Parce que tantôt, c'est comme si c'est la justice qui bloquait la loi. Tantôt, c'est comme si c'est en interne. J'aimerais juste qu'en quelques résumés, nous éclaircisse sincèrement qu'est-ce qui bloque les élections au sein du board. Qu'est-ce qui bloque? C'est la justice qui bloque les textes ou bien c'est des problèmes internes? Parce que ça devient flou dans mon esprit par rapport à cette situation. On a parlé des directeurs. J'aimerais savoir le temps de durée de service et combien sont toujours actifs actuellement pour pouvoir organiser cela. Parce que quand on n'a pas de board, quand on n'a pas de CEO, je me pose la question, quels sont les projets de l'avenir? Comment se projeter dans l'avenir par rapport au fonctionnement d'AFRINIC? On ne peut pas rester dans cette situation. En tant que membre, quelle est la solution que vous nous proposez pour pouvoir sortir de cette crise? Moi, je vous pose directement la question à vous. Quelle est votre proposition de solution exacte pour qu'on puisse sortir de cette crise-là? Merci.
Yeah. So the question is, he wants to know because he's told that the law is blocking, the whole process, or at some point, maybe it's the directors. He's a bit confused about what exactly is the blocking factor. And then the second part of his question is, what do you propose to get out of this situation? J'espère que j'ai bien traduit votre question.
Yeah, so
no, you're out of question. Let me just throw the question so you can close.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm not convinced that the court has matters regarding community activity. I'm not convinced. So go rethink it. Number two, I'm going to borrow a question from Viv earlier. The last time we met, Viv asked a question about business continuity. What will happen when you lose critical staff? Do you have a plan? Thank you.
Yes, Ben.
Well, okay. So to answer the first question, yes.
Yeah, there is a question also for somebody following online. Mohammed from Senegal.
I've been put to you first, and then.
Okay. So to answer the question of the friend, can you remind me again? The
gentleman from Burkina Faso.
Yeah, Burkina Faso, yes.
Yes. The first question was, he's a bit confused. You're saying that it's the law blocking.
Yes. So what I'm saying is that we are in this situation because a member went to court and seek the appointment of an official receiver for AFRINIC. Okay, saying yes, we felt that process of appointing the receiver was flawed in law, so we appealed against the decision. Now, the 25 outstanding cases which are left are in a way intertwined with the outcome of the decision of the official receiver. So once that case is resolved, and we are waiting judgment on that case, once that case is ruled upon, then the governance issue and the matter surrounding it I mean, will be resolved in one way or the other. So yes, so that is what I'm saying that we are waiting for. And
the second part, what do you propose to come out of it as soon as possible?
Well, it's a court process. We can't do anything to influence it. It takes its natural course as it will be. What I've been proposing before, we need to respect the court process because we operate in Mauritius. So I can't come up with I don't want to say anything apart from respecting the court process.
Mm-hmm. And Nee's question?
Yes, about the community activities. Yes.
Sorry, may I just ask the gentleman from Burkina whether he's understood the answer from Ben or he needs the translation? Yes. C'est bon, est-ce que votre question a été répondue? Vous avez compris?
Mais il y a deux questions qui ne sont pas répondues.
OK. Peut-être que c'est moi qui ai raté les deux questions?
Non, j'ai demandé la durée du temps des directeurs et ceux qui sont toujours en activité.
Okay. He asked the duration of the mandate of the directors and who are those who are still standing. C'est bien ça.
Oui, et le plan de suivi de AFRINIC à long terme, qu'est-ce qu'on prévoit? Est-ce qu'on va rester dans cette situation?
And AFRINIC's plan going forward, what is the game plan?
Okay, now I'm very sure the question regarding the tenure of the directors also a matter before the court. So I would respectfully.
Cette décision est en train d'être contestée en cours. Hein?
Yes. So
la partie.
Yes. So that whole discussion is a matter before the court. So yes. I cannot answer that question. However, yeah. So I cannot.
And the plan.
The plan. I keep repeating myself. The plan is follow the court process. Which one? Yes. Oh, okay, which one? The critical stuff. Which one? Okay.
Yeah, he disagrees with you.
Okay. And yes, and we said that. No. Okay. Yes, and Alan, this is where I said that. Remember, I said this in my submission earlier on that critical matters, the directors intervene and take responsibility for those things to be done. Mm-hmm. That's what I said. So yes, we cannot. That is why that is why the Companies Act requires a director to be present. That doesn't necessarily require a board, but requires a directors. Because there are certain situations in which the directors can intervene to have the matters resolved. And there are 4 directors, yes, so which are still willing to serve the organization. So any matter that comes before us that is critical in nature, we will give the appropriate, instructions for it to be resolved.
But Ben, there are 4 directors. You seem to be the only one present.
Yes, I'm still the only one present. That's a good question.
I don't even see the local director.
But because, first of all, this is not an African event, so they were invited to be part of this meeting. Mm-hmm. It's their prerogative to, because this is not an AFRINIC meeting, so right. It is their prerogative to be present or not. One of them, I know some of them have other obligations that could not come to there, but I would love them to be present. But since this is not an AFRINIC meeting, or Arrow Forum, they could not honor the invitation.
It's an exceptional situation, isn't it? AFRINIC is facing.
Yes, I know this is an exceptional situation, yeah. and even me, I had to come here I had another obligation, but then I said no, this cannot happen without my presence at least.
Yeah.
So
maybe we can take Nee's question about business continuity.
About the staff resigning.
Staff resigning, okay. The replacement, and then business continuity.
Yes, like I said, the staff are very dedicated. We've always, maybe I don't say it hard enough because I've had my some. We have had disagreements, but I think that first of all, they are staff without the core board and without the staff salaries are being paid. So all the staff are being paid. What they are not getting is the normal increments per the government. But even that one, my policy is once the board is back, we will review it, and all the increments due them will be backdated and paid including even the performance bonuses and all that. So we are trying at the very best to maintain the staff we want. But then, like I said,
We are not talking about maintaining staff. We are saying, what if critical staff move on?
Yeah.
Say what you will do, not tell us that you will be paying their salaries, and we are not interested.
Yes, and yes. So what I was saying is that when that situation happened,
plan to hire.
What I'm saying is that if a critical staff is needed and to keep the operations of the organizations going, we will take the responsibility to hire the staff and bear the consequences.
So say yes.
Hire a replacement.
Yes, with the replacement, yes. Once it can be proved that this is a critical staff which needs to be done, and all evidence shows, we will simply take the bull by the horn, hire for whichever staff we need to hire, and we'll take the responsibility for it, and we can justify our actions.
Okay. So I think before I end, I would just like to make a comment, and the comment I'm going to make is my own. I am not a lawyer, and I'm Mauritian. So, and I run a company here, so I know quite a bit about the Company Act. To me, you see, the court is a platform for conflict resolution. The court doesn't impose anything. And if parties can agree, the court doesn't even want to be involved. We have issues because there are disagreement between parties. And the appointment of the official receiver was an attempt from the court to restore governance. And my opinion, it was a good thing. My problem, and I admit that I was one of the parties who challenged the independence of the official receiver. And I was very clear in my letter to the judge as a member, because I wrote to the judge in my personal name, and I made it clear that I welcome the appointment of the official receiver. But what I didn't like was that the official receiver was biased, because the next day of his appointment, he turned up at AFRINIC's office, and he brought with him Paul Wollner, who at that time was the president of Internet Society, who's been running a campaign against AFRINIC, so was clearly against AFRINIC. And he himself, he had active litigation against AFRINIC in court. So we had someone who was introduced by the official receiver as his consultant. And while that guy at the same time was suing AFRINIC in court and was the president of the Internet Society. So that bit I thought was very dangerous for AFRINIC, and I challenged that decision.
I think you meant the Numbers Resource Society, right? Not the Internet.
Yes, sorry. The number, sorry. Yes, Anush. The Number Resource, the NRS. My apologies. So that was the situation at that time. And for me, I thought the appointment of the OR was a fine decision, but it was the individual himself that was tainted. And we wanted, I personally wanted the court to appoint someone else who would be independent and that would guarantee free and fair elections. The problem that we have from my understanding, Ben, that our lawyers acting with the directors, they felt that the appointment of that OR was unlawful. That is what?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
And therefore, they decided to challenge. And once they challenge, then of course, that challenge has to be examined, has to be, the court will have to deliver a ruling. And all these things takes time. And the court, I think at the time when the challenge was lodged, the court was going on holiday, so we had to wait. And now I understand they resume and they will examine it. There is a process, and unfortunately it takes time. So I think, Ben, my concern is that I do not doubt your sincerity. I do not doubt the competence of our lawyers. But I also feel that sometimes lawyers are not always right.
Yes,
know?
I agree with you that sometimes not always right. It is the court that determines whether we are right or we are wrong.
Yes.
So I would say that we should not substitute ourselves.
That's why I'm saying that. Yes. I think for the sake of AFRINIC, because there is a lot of responsibility on your shoulders, and the fact that you are alone here and the other directors are not here, I mean, it is to your credit that you are showing up here and putting yourself on the spot. But I think for this kind of decision, I would advise that you seek consultation, maybe not with the community at large, but with some people, to make sure that the decision that you're taking is really in the interest of AFRINIC. Because otherwise, we never know whether the lawyer is advising, maybe because for him, he feels that is the best path of action, but may not be in AFRINIC's interest, you understand?
Well, like I said, we did not just stop at saying that's the best words. They give us the reasons. The arguments are there. Unfortunately, I cannot go into the merits of that case because that would be going to the merits of the case. What I can say is simple as that. The determination of whether the appointment was right or wrong is before the courts, and we should let the court make that decision. I don't want to substitute I wouldn't want to substitute myself for the court to make the decision, and I wouldn't ask anybody else to do that. Because that's the danger. So, rightly or wrongly, we felt it was wrong based on the arguments we made before court. We also respect the other side's views and about their arguments they made before the court as whether it's right or wrong. Mm-hmm. The judges are to decide because it's the matter before them. If it was not the matter before the court, I would have gone out and made the presentation detailed why I think so. And I'm very sure that 99.5% of the people here would agree with me. But I cannot do that. So the only thing I can say is it's before the courts. Let us wait there.
Okay. I think with this close, thank you very much, everybody, for your attention and participation. I'll hand over the mic to Susan.
Thank you.
A clap for them. Can we clap for them again? Thank you. We need to rush for a break, and this break will take only 10 minutes, and then we will be back because we are overspent on time. Okay? Quickly, just have your coffee in 10, and then we are good. Thank you.